Papers now supports over 85 different document types. Keeping all your documents organized is ultimately Paper's goal. Whether these include articles, reviews, recipes, invoices, conference proceedings, posters, or even knitting patterns. You get the idea. Let's take a look at how we can index and organize all of our documents using Papers with a few examples. First, we will import a newspaper article from the internet. When you come across an article of interest, you can click on Import and Papers creates a direct link in the file to this article. Let's import another article from the same publication so you can see how the website's feature organizes all articles from the same publication together. If you navigate to websites, you will see how both articles we downloaded from the same newspaper are saved together. This makes it easy to find an article if you can't remember the title, but you do remember the source. The next document type we'll focus on is a patent. I found an interesting patent I've already downloaded earlier, and I'm importing the PDF by dragging and dropping it into my library. In edit mode, I can specify this document is a patent. Now let's use the matching function to import more metadata, since we didn't import this document directly into Papers, but rather downloaded it earlier, and a limited amount of metadata is contained within the PDF. Quite a bit more metadata is now included, and one of the details is the patent number. You may wonder why you would want to specify a document as a patent instead of just leaving it as an article. The answer is fairly straightforward. Pay attention to the type of information contained in the inspector window. This is customized to the document type. If this document were to be classified as an article, there would not be a space in the inspector to specify the patent number. This in turn influences how easily you can find your documents in a search when your library grows to include thousands of documents and many different document types. Aside from searching for more specific information, you can also build very specific smart collections that pull together documents from your library based on a set of parameters that you determine. Our next document is of a different nature. We'll import a figure we might include in a future publication or manuscript. The figure already lives on my hard drive as a PowerPoint file, and I'll drag and drop it into Papers. Papers recognizes it as a PowerPoint file and designates it as a presentation. We can further refine this and label it as being a figure. You can add a lot of metadata to your figures depending on your needs. Moving through the different document categories, you can already see that the documents in my library are automatically grouped into the correct category. Let's add another article. This paper was also previously downloaded and contains very little metadata. Let's match it to allow Papers to import more metadata for us. See how the information in the inspector window is instantly transformed, almost like magic. Instead of dragging and dropping documents into your library, you can also start a new document and specify the document type from the File menu. Click on File, then click on New, and select the type of document you would like to create. You are flexible to choose how you create your documents depending on your workflow and your personal preferences. I'll use this example to create a recipe. I like organizing my favorite recipes in Papers as well, in addition to my work-related files. As with all file types, recipes have their own metadata options in the inspector window. Adding the recipe itself is as simple as dragging and dropping the recipe file into the new file we just created. I can add the title and some more metadata before I save it. Next up, I'll import a book to my library. Whenever a PDF is drag and dropped into Papers, the default setting is to label it as an article. Thankfully, we can easily change this in the inspector window as we saw before, but alternatively, we can also drag and drop the file to the appropriate document type. Note that I'm now prompted to refine the file category further. For this book, there is a glossary that belongs to it. To keep everything together, I'll make use of the supplements. For the supplementary files, you can also use Quick Look to preview the file, or you can open it outside of Papers or view where it is in Finder. To illustrate the power of using document types and metadata for all your files, I'll create a smart collection to organize my dessert recipes and papers. For this example, we'll select the document type and what is included in the recipe type. We only imported one recipe so far, but you can see it selected our recipe based on the information we entered in the metadata to include in our collection of dessert recipes. Now you've seen how you can add some of the many different document types Papers supports. The process is the same for each one of them, so don't hesitate to use Papers for any and all documents, whether they're PDFs, word processing files, spreadsheets, figures, and whether they're books, articles, crafting patterns, patents, recipes, or budgets. The possibilities are endless, and Papers is ready to organize more than just your research life. Enjoy using Papers.